Running Out of Time by Kaylee Cruz and produced by Rebecca Snodgrass. Everything was dark. I could barely see or even move. I didn't know where I was. I tried to stand up, but my head started spinning, and I fell back down feeling nauseous. Putting my hands out in front of me, I felt what seemed like a door. Locating the doorknob, I tried to pull myself up, but this time much slower. The dizziness was still there, but I tried to see past it. Turning the doorknob, I discovered it to be locked. I took a deep breath in and tried to think of my way out. I sat back on the ground and ran my hands across the floor. Feeling the carpet, I eventually hit a cardboard box. Reaching in, I gripped something that felt like a flashlight. Feeling for the switch, I clicked it on, and it illuminated the room with a blinding light. Happy to have found the flashlight, I could now see everything. There was nothing in the closet with me but a stack of boxes to my left and the box to my right that I found the flashlight in. I peered back into the box to see what else I could find. There were two other objects, a water bottle and an envelope. I reached in and picked up the envelope. As I flipped it over, I noticed it had my name written on it, Christine. It was almost as if the silence was quieter than before. I stared at the envelope, deciding to open it.
Christine, you need to escape. I've laid clues for you throughout the house, so it is very important you follow them exactly. You have one day to do so. If you fail, they will find you and they will kill you. Do not sit and wait for someone to find you because no one will come for you. You are on your own. There are things in the house that can help you. You're a very smart girl and will do fine, but hurry. Your time is depleting. Bye for now, Alexa.
Box. Standing up, I decide to try and look in the other boxes. There are tons of newspapers and nothing worth taking out. I finish rummaging through the boxes and sit back down on the floor. Laying my head back on the wall, I point the flashlight at the ceiling. I notice a shelf off to my right and stand up. I put my hands up and run them across the shelf. I find a chest and pull it down. It is wooden with two letters etched into the lid. The letters are CE. Maybe it was just a coincidence that the letters are my initials. I open the chest and it contains another envelope and a satchel-type bag. I take the satchel out of the box and open it. The satchel contains a box of matches, a few batteries, a pocket knife, and a rope. I open the letter.
Christine, I know you are probably thinking, why am I here? Who exactly put me here? Where exactly is here? Well, the only thing I can tell you is you will know in due time. If I reveal everything to you, someone could see that you are getting through this too easily. But I'm here to help you. I will help as much as I possible. As long as you can figure everything out on your own, then my clues will help you. You are in danger, and I wish there was more I could have done, but I've said too much already. And hint, you won't be getting out through the door. Alexa.
Around the room, I look at everything that is there. I look up at the ceiling and notice a grate. I can touch it if I jump, but still needed something to boost myself up on. I move the wooden chest under the vent and step up onto it. Praying it will hold my weight, I reach up, push really hard on the vent grate, and it makes a loud sound as it pops out of place inside the air ducts. Jumping down from the chest, I lean over and pick up the satchel. Stepping back onto the chest, I grab onto the vent above me. Pulling myself up, I swing my legs up and into the vent. Using my leg as an anchor, I pull myself the rest of the way in. I start to venture into the vent. After crawling around for what seemed like an hour and finding nowhere to go, I had to stop and take a break. My hands and knees were very sore. It just so happens that I stop in just the right spot, that there is an envelope right where I stopped. I peel it off the wall where it is attached and open it.
Christine, you are a very bright girl. I see you figured out how to get out of the room. Well, I've included with this letter a map of the house. It will make it a little bit easier on you throughout the whole process. Keep moving and don't let anything stop you. Things might start to get a little strange. You may recognize things you never thought you would see again. Well, good luck. Alexa.
Picking up the flashlight and the map, I decide to take a closer look at it. According to the map, I was only a few feet away from one of the rooms I needed to go to and really far away from the other two. I take one last look at the map and the paths I need to take and start my way toward the first room. Finally reaching the vent opening, I pull up on the gate and it moves just as easily as the first one. I dangle my legs through the vent and drop to the ground. I hit the ground with a loud thud. Standing up, I look around the room. It was an office. For some odd reason, the room looks familiar, but I just can't figure out why. I walk around the room in search of any clues and/or a clock. I look through desk drawers and filing cabinets, in between every chair and a couch cushion. From where I stand, I can see perfectly under the desk. Under the desk, there's a little compartment. I walk over to the desk, sit on the ground, and look at the compartment closer. It needs a 6-digit number code to open. I click through the most random numbers I can think of and then type in the numbers 07, 03, 96. The little compartment opens with a hiss. I'm shocked because the numbers are my birthday. First the box that had my initials,
Christine Everline.
and now the box that unlocked with my birth date. What did they want with me? I take the letter out and open it.
Christine, you made it this far. I applaud you, but you are not halfway finished with your task. I bet you are wondering why your birthday is the code under the desk. I can answer that if and when you escape. I apologize, everything has to be so vague. It's for your own good. I really hope you do succeed and I do get to meet you. There is a package for you in the closet. Open it. Do not take what is in the box and continue on your way to the next room. Best of wishes to you, Alexa.
I did as the note said and went to the closet. I swore I had looked everywhere, but must have been mistaken. If I had, then I should have noticed the brightly wrapped package sitting dead center of the closet. Picking up the box, I walk over to the couch and sit down with it on my lap. I unwrap the box like a child at Christmas time, throwing all of the wrapping paper to the floor. I open the box and find a screen that reads,
You have 12 hours left. Good luck.
I throw the box from my lap with a scream. I run to the door, which is surprisingly unlocked. I hear a noise come from the air ducts. I freeze, like a deer in headlights, staring at the air ducts, awaiting to see what would emerge. Nothing does. I pull the map out of my bag and look at it. I find the next closest room and start down the dark hallway at a dead sprint. I stop running to look at the map again. I was very close and decided to walk for a bit. I start thinking through everything that has happened and everything I've seen. The chest. It reminded me of something my mother had left for me when she died. My mom died when I was 4 years old. I had never met my father. After my mother died, I was moved to an orphanage, and all of my belongings never made it to the orphanage, so I never got the chest. I still couldn't figure out why my birthday was the combination to the desk. I come to the door at the end of the hall. I open the door and walk in. Switching on the light, I can see it was a child's bedroom. It must have been a girl's bedroom because the walls were pink and so were the sheets on the bed. I look around the room and see a giant chest on the floor. I walk over to the dresser and touch the top with my fingers. There was so much dust, it was unbelievable. The bed looked nice and clean, yet it seemed that everything else in the room was covered in dust. I go and sit on the bed, and a cloud of dust surrounds me as I sit down. Choking on the dust from the bed, I decide to start looking for the next clue. I wondered, why had the office been so clean, but the bedroom was so dirty? I find the next clue just inside the top drawer of the dresser. I open it.
Christine, you still aren't finished, but you are so close. I was only lucky to have left these notes for you. They do not know what I have left them. The next room will be very hard to find and even harder to get out of. You're probably wondering why this note was so much easier to find than the last, but here's why. I needed them to think you were struggling to find your way out of the house. If they didn't think this was hard for you, they would have killed you during the first moment you set foot out of the office. They want you to see you struggle and be scared. I've already explained too much. Follow your map and hurry to the next room. I hope you like the room. Isn't it cute, Alexa?
Why had she asked about the room? That made no sense to anything. Was that another clue? I look at my map, but there were only 3 rooms marked. One was the closet, another was the office, and the third was the little girl's room. There were at least 10 other rooms in the house, and I decided to try every door. I start to run through the hall, pulling on every door. Then I hear the sound again. It is coming from above me. I decide to test a theory. I start to run forward and the sound starts again. I pull more doors and the sound grows louder. It was almost as if whatever is creating the sound doesn't want me to find the room. I come to the last door, turn the doorknob, and push it open. The banging stopped right as the door opened. The silence is deafening. What I saw in front of me was another bedroom. The room was more familiar than all the rest. A memory of my mother flashed through my mind.
Her mother was very sick. Before she died and never left her bed, she remembered one day her mom laying in bed, talking to someone in her room. Christine remembers playing with a toy on the rug in front of the fireplace in her mother's room. Her mother was talking to a man. The man looked a little over her mother's age. They were talking about Christine. She knew that because they had said her name dozens of times. Her mom kept saying how smart of a girl she was, and the man agreed and said how he wished he'd been there when she was growing up, but he couldn't. They said more, but then the memory begins to fade.
I had moved to the middle of the room. I start to cry, realizing where I am. I was in my old house. I had been in my father's office. I had been in my old bedroom, and now I was standing in the room where my mother had died. I fell to my knees. I couldn't bear it anymore. I never thought I could see this house again. I had somehow managed to curl up into a ball and began to cry more. I laid there on the ground for a few hours. But remembering why I was in the house, I told myself I had to get up. Suddenly standing up, I forced myself to stop crying. I looked around the room for a way out. Walking toward the bed, I heard a loud sound and whip around to see what made the noise. The door was closed and there was a little metal box on the floor. I run over and try to pull the door open and find it locked. I pick up the box and open it. Inside was a remote with a single button. Pressing it, the box transmits a message onto the wall.
You have 1 hour left. They are watching.
I can feel my heart pounding in my chest. I had to find a way out, and fast. The message on the wall changes into a timer. It was counting down the minutes until they would come find me. I see a note in the little box as well.
Christine, I want you to know that I'm not the person who put you in the house. You need to hurry up and find a way out of the house. They're expecting you to fail, but I believe in you. When you escape the house, there will be a car out in front. Do not run towards it. Run the opposite direction and don't look back. When you escape, keep running until you find somewhere safe to be. I'll find you, don't worry, Alexa.
I notice curtains on the far side of the room. I run over to them and yank them open. The windows are huge and locked. I run back to the dresser on the other side of the room and start tearing clothes out of the drawers. I do this to all the drawers but find no sign of a key.
40 minutes remaining.
I run to the closet, and when I open it, a familiar smell floods my senses. It smells so much like my mother. I discover as I'm rummaging through the closet that her wedding dress was in a box in the bottom of the closet. I take it out, fold it neatly, and put it into my satchel. I continue to look through the closet and find nothing.
30 minutes remaining.
I run over to the window and remember what the knife that was in my bag. Taking the knife out of the bag, I try to pick the lock. It doesn't work, and I was running out of time.
20 minutes remaining.
I look around the room for another way out. It was hard to think with a giant clock on the wall counting down to my doom. I look under the bed and find a few boxes. I open them and it is all shoes and books. I find a few picture books and throw them into the satchel too. I search the entire room and can't find anything useful. Taking another look at the clock, I feel everything start to fall apart.
10 minutes remaining.
I put my face in my hands. I was never going to get out. I then remembered something I saw in a movie. Standing up, I walk over to the vanity table that was next to the dresser in my mother's old room. I pick up the brush on the table and put it in the bag with everything else. I leave all the stuff in the bag but the rope.
5 minutes remaining.
I was running out of time. I pick up the chair that was sitting in front of the vanity table. I run over to the window and throw the chair as hard as I could. I cover my face with my arms so that the glass shards wouldn't cut my face. I grab the rope and try to find something to tie it to.
3 minutes remaining.
I tie the rope to the giant wardrobe that is next to the window.
1 minute remaining.
I start out the window and down the wall. As I hit the ground, I see the car just like Alexa said. I run the other direction as fast as I can. I hear someone yell, but it was too late. I was safe. Exhaustion started to set in, and I slow down to a jog, then a complete walk. I come to a road and I stop and stare at the diner across the street. I walk across the street into the diner. There are only 4 people in the diner, an old couple, the waitress, and a cook, who I could see from the door. I sat down at the counter and put my head down. I hear the door chime from behind me, and I sit straight up. A woman sits down next to me. I look at her, and she looks at me, and smiles. She was the first one to speak.
It's so nice to meet you, Miss Everline. I've waited long enough. As you probably guessed, I'm Alexa. I think it would be best if you came with me and we could finish this conversation somewhere a little more private.
I stare at her for a minute and then ask, "How do I know I can trust you?" Alexa replies with a smile.
There are things you don't remember from your past that I have learned that you would love to know. For instance, I know where your father is.
I'm speechless, but I manage a few words. "Prove it." Alexa gets up and starts for the door. She holds it open and looks at me.
You coming?
I take one last look at the diner and decide it's been a long and weird day, but why not follow this mysterious woman and see if she takes me to my father? I stand up and walk through the door with Alexa right behind me. We walk over to a car and she motions for me to get in. I get in the car and then ask, "How do I know you're not going to give me to those guys that wanted to kill me?" She smiles at me again and replies,
Pick up the wallet and look inside. That will answer several questions.
I pick up the wallet, and inside was a badge that reads Alexa Jones, FBI. There are also a picture of my mother and another woman. My mom was holding me as a little girl, probably 2 years old. There was also another little girl who was sitting in the front of the picture. She had to be at least 3 or 4. "Who's that?"
Me.
Alexa starts the car and starts to drive away from the diner. I look at her. She's smiling again, and there was so many questions I had to ask, but so little time.